Mayor Bloomberg wants you to drink just 16 ounces of pop, no more. He wants to reshape your behavior. This is what he said. He's worried about it. He's on a campaign mission to make sure you don't drink more than 16 ounces of pop at a serving. Where's his campaign to stop cocaine, crack, heroin, ecstasy? What? But don't, you know what? Let's not even talk about that. Let's talk about the microchip. Are you serious? RFID, microchip, is getting ready to be used by the food stamp agencies. Use of RFID tracking technology to be mandatory in the United States for the food stamp program. Let me read. Food stamp welfare individuals must soon be chipped. Let's read. The Bible says in Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 through 17, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. What is that number? 666. Okay. In a little while, the above scene in Revelation 13 will become a global reality. People can no longer buy or sell without the mark of the beast. And sometimes that would mean no longer be able to eat. Well, of course it will. You have to have a one world government, a new world order, or the Bible just calls it the beast. That way, you have the mark of the beast. Now, the United States, the USDA, is now considering biometric identification for all individuals who will want to benefit from their food and nutrition services. The RFID chip may just soon be a must for everyone who does not want to starve. The following is an excerpt of the executive summary of the final report of the use of biometric identification technology to reduce the fraud in the food stamp program. Biometric identification technology can do this. Provides automated methods to identify a person based on physical characteristics such as fingerprints, hand shapes, characteristics of the eyes and the face, as well as behavioral characteristics, including signatures and voice patterns. Well, if they do me, they'll have to say, "Are you serious? What? Are you serious?" I'm sure that will be on my RFID chip. I've had people say to me, "Now, Pastor, don't get too far out of here. We're out of here. We're out of here when Jesus comes and gets us." When the Bible says these are the beginning of sorrows, you need to understand, nobody knows when the beginning of sorrows, how far we have to go into the beginning of sorrows. Nobody knows the day nor the hour. No, not the angels, not even the Son of God, only the Father. The implementation of this technology will probably be in play even before a new world order is formed, or an antichrist shall rise and reveal himself. You see, we're going to be further down the road than people realize. And that's where they're going to be shaking in their boots and scratching their heads on what to do. You can't, for too long, the modern day church has sat on its padded pew, believing that they'll never get a hangnail, and God will deliver them. Well, God will deliver us from evil. God will take us to heaven. God is coming for his bride, but we don't know when, and we don't know how far into the beginning of sorrows we have to go. Now, I know one thing. You need to be saved. I also know another thing. We have signs of apocalyptic events happening all around us, which certainly is pointing us to the soon.
Wow, this is one for the record. I think it froze. Let's see. Well, I guess it froze. You got the idea. The RFID chip. Let's see what happened here. Well, see what happens? They didn't like that. Let's move on. We'll move on to something better now. Okay, we'll close him. He's going to talk about the fish kills and all that, but this is the most important breaking news. Wow, looks like everything froze. Okay. Okay. Let's move on. It's going to act all weird. See, that's my high-speed internet. Thank you, Bright House. Come on. Wow. See what it's doing? Oh, come on. Here we go. Look how slow. Here we go. I don't know what it's doing. Oh, this is better. Oh, Adobe Flash Player has crashed. They didn't like that. Oh, they're monitoring this too. That's okay. We'll go do it. We'll go back one and we'll go forward one. Yeah. That's okay. It's baloney. Yeah. Stand by. I know. Look at this. Oh. Cancel. It'll close. Let's go on. Well. There it goes. Do all kinds of crazy stuff. I want to show you what I'm dealing with tonight. That's why we're running late. Let's go on to 5. Very important news tonight. And I'm not going to stop. I want you guys to see this. Bear with me what I'm dealing with. See? Doesn't want to let it close either. Look at that. Bastards. Oh, that crashed too. What was that?
They're not up to the challenge either. We have a huge number of people that are addicted to either non-prescription drugs, illicit drugs, or they're on everything from blood thinners to mood-altering drugs to you name it. We have 7 or 8% of the population now that's insulin dependent, diabetic. What's going to happen to all these people when the power grid goes down? It's going to be a huge die-off.
Well, look at Katrina. The government couldn't and wouldn't even help people and it was an absolute hellhole right there. But the government wouldn't let the people walk out on the highways and get away, though. I mean, it just shows a total predatory view. I want to run through some more of the points here. Let's look at the upcoming vote in Greece. Preparedness for banking crisis. We already kind of mentioned that, but recapping it. Then general preparedness, and then preparedness for a internet attack or mega flare.
Okay, that's a lot to cover in one interview, but I think it is important that people get prepared. In terms of a banking crisis, people need to keep a lot more cash at home. And as I pointed out in my piece in Survival Blog, a good chunk of that ought to be in 5-cent coins, in nickels, because it's the only currently circulating coin in the United States still being minted that's worth its face value. Everything else is just a token. Granted, pre-1981 pennies are worth, 2.6 times face value right now, but you have to sort those, and that's not even worth the time to do so.
Great point. People can make a whole living off getting bulk pennies, picking them out, and nickels, but folks don't even want to do that. They'd rather just get a welfare check.
Yeah, they'd rather do that. But again, people need to get prepared for this coming banking crisis. I think we will have a delay before it takes place here in the States because the dollar and U.S. Investments are going to be seen as the safe haven temporarily. But this is your window of opportunity, folks. Get a wad of cash, and it should be in $1 and $5 bills, not large bills, because you're going to need to be able to make change. If there's a banking crisis, people are going to have to revert to cash for just about everything. Stock that cash away, develop a good hiding place at home that won't be found. Make sure at least 2 family members know where it is in case you don't come home someday. Get your food storage squared away. Get a water filter. Make plans to team up with your country cousins or friends that you have that live in lightly populated rural farming areas, because you may need to depend upon them. You may need to double up with them. For anyone who's already at retirement age or has the opportunity to retire early, or who is self-employed, I recommend that you go ahead and make the move now. You're actually behind the power curve. You really should have moved several years ago so you'd have a chance to get established, put all your fences in, get your water supply squared away, plant a garden.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I didn't have to be in Austin, which is a great town, and to have the crew here, I would be 1,000 miles from nowhere. I mean, I would be out of here just on the chance there's going to be this collapse. And now we're just hoping for a way to get out of it. That's my next question. I want you to abbreviate and finish the other points. We'll have you back for a second interview very soon as this all accelerates. Is there any way right now to avert this? And on a scale of 1 to 10, if we can't avert it, I mean, are we looking at a 3, a 4, God forbid, a worse of a collapse?
Well, I don't think it can be avoided at this point. Now, it could be delayed quite a while. They might have a currency reform here in the States. As I mentioned in my blog, they might even do something as severe as dropping a 0 or even 2 zeros off the dollar, which would cause a overnight boost to the economy, because suddenly gasoline, instead of being $3 a gallon, will be back to 30 cents a gallon, and a movie ticket instead of $9 will be 90 cents. So it'll give people the illusion of prosperity in the short term. There could be an event like that would kind of carry us over, basically muddle through a depression for a couple of years. But in the long term, things are going to break down. We will see a full-scale economic collapse. It's at this point, because of the national debt alone, I see this absolutely inevitable.
And it's kind of a perpetual motion machine. The global architects admit they set this in motion to consolidate total power. That's why they do rule the earth, though. They're wicked, they don't care, they're ruthless, and they're willing to gamble it all. They're willing to gamble it all. You know, the Rothschilds, on record, helped fund Hitler up front. Then he was even able to kill some of the French Rothschilds during the war. I mean, these globalists, they really are willing to gamble it all for total power, and so they're either going to get everything, or we're going to end up defeating them in the process.
Yeah, well, if nothing else, they have clearly demonstrated they're willing to use the citizenry of every nation as their pawns. We need to be proactive so we don't end up being pawns on the chessboard. We basically have to move ourselves off the chessboard at this point. People need to hunker down in a secure area. You know, the hill country out of Austin is not all that bad. There's a lot of other areas like that in the United States. I'm particularly fond of what I refer to as the American Redoubt, which is in the inland Northwest, which consists of Idaho, Montana, Eastern Oregon, Eastern Washington. There's going to be some fairly safe places, relatively safe places, and there are no full-on guarantees, but from an actuarial standpoint, your safety will be much higher in those areas.
Yeah, well, I do live in the hill country, but I only live in the edge of it. It takes me 35 minutes to get to work because I'm in South Austin, so it's basically just straight from Austin out to the country. But, you know, I got a little piece of property. There's ranches around me, but I'm not naive. You know, I'm only about 3 miles off a major road. I guess people like yourself, but also Joel Skousen, they're saying maybe have another just even piece of property with a trailer or something further out. I mean, I'm springing this on you, but perhaps next time you can tell me, what's the safest area of the hill country? How far would I have to be out? Like 100 miles from Austin?
50 or more probably. The crucial thing, though, is to make sure you're on the side road of a side road. You don't want to be along any natural line of drift for people fleeing the cities. All the major highways are going to get flooded with refugees. And then the major farm-to-market roads, the side roads, to a lesser extent. But even fewer people are going to end up on the side roads of the side roads. That's where you want to be. And that's my advice to basically, even for my listeners in the Midwest or in the Deep South, if you could be back on the side road of a side road, the vast majority of the problems are not going to come looking for you. You'll be able to avoid them.
Aren't guns going to be the big equalizer, though? If you've got millions and millions being sold a month and roving bands, because I saw this when a hurricane hit Houston. I was at our family ranch in East Texas hunting and hanging out with family, and there were just people from Houston everywhere. Crime did explode, but all that happened was a bunch of looters just got shot. I mean, that's going to be incredible because, I mean, even where I live, I've got a fence, a wall up, I got dogs. They're going to wake me up. I got cameras. You come over, I'm going to get up. You're dead. I mean, I mean, I could kill. I'm not waiting for it. I'm not happy about it, but my children are going to stay safe. I'll kill 500 people. They come on my property. I mean, it's over.
Well, the people that are well armed are not going to get picked on. And it's just like if you look at urban crime right now, the people that get picked on are the people that are the most vulnerable. The elderly, the infirmed, and the unarmed. If and when we do see a major societal collapse, these roving bands are going to come out of the big cities. They're going to pick on, your Prius driving, Birkenstock wearing neighbors first. They're not going to want to pick on somebody who's well armed, especially in a situation where their advanced medical care has gone away.
So if they drive up on something that's got a rock wall and then behind that a fence, they're going to figure out that's a. But in a way, isn't a fortress like that even more obvious in a way?
Well, Joel Skousen has always said you want to have your house just completely blend in, but you have to make compromises to your architecture if you do that. I'd actually rather look like a tough nut to crack.
No. I mean, that's what I'm behind. I mean, I'm behind. I mean, I believe all this. I've built multiple things, and I'm ready.
Well, I think you're going to pull through just fine, and most people that are well prepared are going to pull through. Again, if they're on a side road of a side road, and again, the looters are not going to want to pick on you. You start cranking rounds off over their heads, they're going to go find a softer target. They're not going to want to take casualties. They're going to go pick on Granny down the road.
Incredible. In closing, this has been an amazing back and forth discussion. A lot more is at survivalblog.com. But let me just try to shut up. I'll have to actually turn my mic off for about 6-7 minutes, let you finish. Get into preparedness for an internet attack, either false flag or launched by the Chinese or Russians. Where do you see the real threat coming from, and how do you prepare for that?
Well, I think there's definitely a threat. In fact, my blog site recently had a attack. It was a denial of service attack where they put thousands of pings on my site to try to shut it down. But we transitioned to a cloud server and basically laughed it off. But we could see far more sophisticated attacks in the future. There could be computer viruses. There could be email attacks. We could see the government itself attempt to shut down part or all of the internet. People need to make plans for a world without the internet in a worst case. And it's important that people go to their favorite websites and look up the dotted quad address, the IP address for the IPv4 or the IPv6 now address for each of those sites, and literally write down the dotted quad address.
I got to interrupt again. You're always so on target. All my IT people said this years ago. Now they admit, the UN and the U.S. government admit they're going to take our websites away under these treaties for no reason. People won't be able to find us. We're going to be blocked in the Google, which is really NSA search engine. We've got to have the real IP address. Stress that again, but in layman's terms for folks like me.
Sure. If you do a web search in Google or Bing or wherever, search for IP lookup. And there are tools that you can, online tools, they're web pages where you paste in the URL, the name of your favorite websites, and then it will spit back the IP addresses for each of them. That's the easy way to find them. Again, IP lookup. Bookmark an IP lookup page and start writing down and bookmarking the dotted quad addresses for all your favorite websites. Sites like Infowars.com or sites like mine or whatever. Get those written down and literally carry that in your wallet, because you never know where you're going to be if there's an internet shutdown, or under what circumstances you might have to flee your own home and end up somewhere else where you don't have your desktop computer or your laptop with you. So you literally want to keep those in your wallet. That's step one. Step two is for the more advanced computer users that are listening to this, you need to explore what's called the darknet. Do a web search on darknet and get yourself set up. It does involve installing a little software on your computer. It's not as easy to use as the internet through a standard web.
Oh, it's going on to the next video. Stand by. It's real slow. Oh, they canceled it out. Alrighty then. Let me turn this around. Of course, it's being censored. That's what's going on with that, just so you know. It is being censored somehow.
As the internet through a standard web browser.
Oh, it's on.
But it's important that people develop a presence in the darknet so that if the main internet disappears someday, there's a good possibility that the darknet will still be up and running. It's far beyond the scope of this interview to try to describe it all here, but I know that a lot of people listening to this are quite intelligent and quite computer savvy. You folks need to take the time to research what the darknet is and how to get on the darknet. And as I mentioned previously, you also need to get set up with a Bitcoin account so that you can transact business on the darknet. It may become crucial in the next couple of years because the internet as we know it maybe either partially or completely taken away from us.
Yeah, we know governments and corporations aren't just digging in physically. They're building their own secret networks and public networks and gearing up to weather the storm by design. The only question is, will enough of us get ready for this to perhaps slow it down or back it off or, by God's good graces, stop it? But governments have said it's a foregone conclusion. The Rockefeller Foundations, the British Ministry of Defense, they were writing this in the 60s, planned for around this time. Now that stuff's all public. They engineered it. They want it to happen. And that's, I mean, people are like, oh, you guys are gloom and doom. Look, by the grace of God, if we avert this, that's great. The social engineers want this. It's on record, and you're insane if you don't get ready. Do you agree with that statement?
Yes, I do.
Hopefully you can see this.
Now, to get back to practical, tactical steps, beyond the darknet, the other thing that I recommend that people do is get themselves licensed as amateur radio operators and get an HF radio. You need to get a multi-band, all-band radio, but HF is the crucial band to be able to access. You need to be, if you can't pick up a handset and key it up and be operating, between 10 and 40 megs, you're behind the power curve. You want to be able to have a radio, preferably on an alternative power system, which would mean a photovoltaic power system with a good-sized battery bank. And most of the ham rigs are 12 volt anyway, so you can tap directly into the battery bank. You don't have to go through an inverter. People need to have that as the ultimate backup, because if the internet goes down, we could see a situation where there's martial law in a few cities, but unless patriots can communicate, we're going to be powerless. We really need to be able to push to talk, as they say. So get a ham radio license, get together with your local ARRL affiliate ham radio club, get teamed up with an Elmer. An Elmer is like an old guy who teaches young guys how to use ham radio. Get linked up, matched up with a Elmer, and come up to speed on ham radio quickly.
That's right, because communications is everything. The globalists will shut this down during their purge. We're just awash in info today and don't appreciate it. But the power of ham radio, and I know a lot of patriots have been into this forever, is that we're going to have those communications, and then you can tune in anonymously, even having the wider band shortwave. But like you said, taking a course so you understand the nuances, sideband, single sideband, so you know what you're hearing. You notice that's what FEMA and all the systems uses their backup, the submarines. But notice they're now going to fully scrambled, and trying to get police locally on fully scrambled so we can't hear what's going on. I mean, you can see this corporate board takeover. Amazing information. All right, well, Mr. Rawls, I want to thank you for joining us. It's been an amazing discussion. James Leslie Rawls' book, Survivors, a novel, The Coming Collapse, available at Infowars.com. I know you're awake, folks, but your friends and family may not be. Great book to get and give them. Every mind we unlock. I think that's the biggest thing in preparedness, too, is also...
Okay, then. Let me turn this around. I wanted you to see that. Okay, let me see if we're lined up. I have no idea if you could have seen that or not, but I had to make sure to show you that we were being censored. His things, everything that's important, they're starting to take them off. That's why this is breaking news, and I'm trying to get this all up for you. That's why it's taking so long. Alrighty then. Here we go. We're back. Now I'll give you your regular news. It's still black, the screen, even though the camera is on. Well, we can go with just sound. It doesn't matter to me. There we are. I got you back. Alrighty then. Also, we have Dr. Bill Deagle going. I can listen to him and see what he's doing also. Stand by. We're already at 28 minutes. I'm sorry but it crashed everything. And I waited long enough, it came back up. So you can see how things are going. Let's see here. Let me see if he's on. Here we go. Let's see.
Most likely microregial pain syndrome 2. That's the diagnostic category. He needs to be on our neuropathy program.
Okay, he's not up yet to the earth changes, so we're going to move on. Let me slide him right here out of the way, but we'll keep him on there. Alrighty then, let's move on. Let's see if I can get into the earth changes for you. This is how slow this is running. Things won't close, windows won't close, and when I tried to close them, they won't. What a big mess. So I just know they're going to take this off the internet. That's why I'm getting this to you now if you haven't seen it. Okay. Let me see if I can. I have no idea. If I can close one of these windows, that would be nice. We'll move a little faster. Let me see what this one is. Oh, let's get rid of this one. I'm waiting right now for the Mozilla Foxfire to come up. I'm running two different searches at the same time, so we won't go down. Unbelievable. Okay, we're not going to show what I'm looking for, but luckily I have my favorites. Okay, it's June, it is technically June 16th, 2012. It's Saturday evening, very late Saturday evening for you. And I've been just thrown off the internet half the time. Can't get things to come up. We're moving very, very slow. Things are being slowly deleted and things are crashing, but I just had to let you see that for yourself. If you just wait or just stay on, just wait, stay on and see if it will play. If not, then you go back one, go forward, and all of a sudden it does play. It's incredible. Alrighty. Let's close this so I can read it. Okay, news for today. U.S. spy plane returns to Earth. China is building rival. And they have a little video on it, but we're not going to show that one. It's too hard to show videos. Greeks. This is what's happening in Greece. Greeks empty bank accounts ahead of historic election. It shows lines and lines of people going to the ATMs. 6.1 earthquake strikes off the coast of the Philippines, Manila. 4 climbers feared dead after Mount McKinley avalanche. Mexico's Popocatépetl volcano growing more active. Banks ready contingency plans for potential Greek exit of Euro in Sunday's vote. 3.1 magnitude earthquake shakes North Texas. A lot of news today. And again, yesterday, second massive fish kill off the coast of Japan. 10,000 sardines found dead in South Kanagawa. Okay, let's move on. I only got one window I can open right now. We're going very slow. I am so sorry. But there was breaking news. If you're on food stamps, heads up. Any kind of social program. So I'm going to figure that's going to include not just food stamps. If it's a social program, you're talking Social Security, you're talking disability, talking maybe Medicare, anything that's on a government program, which is everything, basically. So heads up, they're going to chip you just like a dog or a cat. And this is going to have your bank information, your thumbprint, your fingerprints, your birth certificate, your banking information, your medical information. Why would you need the banking information? So you're not going to be able to buy, sell, trade without this chip. Heads up. And it's supposed to be implemented 18 months after Obamacare took place, meaning they're going to probably try to chip everyone no later than March 2013. Alrighty then. Moving on. Let's move on to SOT.net. See if there's anything going on there that's different. If not, I'm going to flip to the watchers if I can. Okay, SOT.net. Remember, I don't use a teleprompter, and we basically go live. Meaning, I do it, and then I just publish it. Colorado wildfire, Hyde Park fire claims 181 homes now. That's today. USGS earthquake magnitude 6.1, Luzon, Philippines. Could a supervolcano happen in our lifetime? Which one are they looking at? Doesn't say. But the answer is yes. Okay, that's it with this one. Let me look further down just to make sure. No. Alright, let's move on to the watchers. There should have been some CMEs coming in. Okay. That's why I'm doing it, so you guys don't have to jeopardize your computers. Let me jeopardize the old computer, old laptop. Okay, the watchers. Watching the world. Again, let's see. 6.1 magnitude earthquake struck Luzon, Philippines. That's pretty big. Let's see what else, if there's anything else new. Yes, moderate G2 geomagnetic storm and minor solar radiation storm in progress. China launched first manned crew to their future space station. So heads up, China's in space, going to their space station. Global supply chain cause extinction of many species. Wow. Japan earthquake. HARP. Sunday, March 2011 analysts. Talking about HARP and earthquakes. Also, Typhoon Gucho intensified near Philippines heading towards Japan. Also, volcanic gases could deplete ozone layer. More dead fish in Japan. Thousands of sardines found dead in Miura City, Kanagawa. Voyager 1 approaching solar system's frontier. Okay, that was from yesterday. Let's move on to the E-Energy News. Let me see what he's talking about right now, because we might go to Dr. Deagle's Earth Changes. No, he has a commercial. Let's hope he's going there. This is going to be a long program, but very informative. This is a real heads up about everything. And you're getting to see it before, if you haven't already, before it's knocked off the internet. And you see how they do it. Alrighty then. E&E. As time goes on, this won't be so dinosaurish. always looking to improve. Things going on, okay. Let's go into Fukushima. Location, Fukushima. Source. Local official has not yet controlled real black substances. He had only mixtures, not real substances. Levels still reached over 5 million becquerels per kilogram. Okay. Report. Algae is bioconcentrating radioactive material in Japan cities. Living things sucking in intense radiation from walls and asphalt. Strontium may be absorbed most. Strontium is what goes to your bones. Breaks your teeth, too. Local officials. Radiation dose is increasing with rainfall around Fukushima plant. I don't expect level of contamination will decrease this year. If they don't stop it, it will never decrease. Why even say that? Oh, very high. NHK, serious radioactivity accumulation causing hot spots in center of large city up to 300,000 becquerels per kilogram. Also, Fukushima Daiichi worker thinks ground at plant causing construction delays and TEPCO giving false explanations. Japan Prime Minister orders restart of nuclear reactors under intense pressure from banks. The dustbin of history is waiting for him, says experts. Protests as 70% of population oppose. Obviously, somebody's been dumbed down. Another fish kill outside Tokyo. I've never seen such a thing before, says local farmer. Okay, let's check the United States. Let's see if anything's been updated since those leaks. Fires of subs and everything else. Notice how it's been squashed. That one sub, never heard a thing about it again. Never heard anything. Also, never heard anything about what happened at night with all that radiation, and they were getting 7,000 counts per minute or something. Up there in northern Indiana, Michigan. Yeah, what happened to Ohio? How come the story's been squashed? Nothing new since June 14th. Nothing new. What is the U.S. government waiting for? Japan will not act. U.S. must address threat of number 4 fuel pool. It must address everything that's been going on. But I guess it doesn't want to for some reason. Alright, let's take that off. Now, let's see if Dr. Deagle's earth changes are on here.
My practitioner wants to start on
Victoza, which is the...
So my blood sugar, I'm concerned that it might not be safe, so do you have any advice for me?
Well, the latest studies is the FDA, of course, fatal drugs allowed. You have to take it with an advisement whenever you hear FDA, because we call them fatal drugs allowed. But it's a recombinant DNA production of a molecule called glucagon-like peptide 1.
No,
And
he's giving advice. So we'll catch him tomorrow. If I can catch him, if he comes up in a little bit, then I will keep going. And what I'll do is just tag another video ahead of this one. Alrighty then. You have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the Saturday evening. Nothing left. Some people, it's already into the next day. And one day down for the weekend. We still have Sunday. Take care. Sorry this is taking so long and it's so late, But nothing but problems because I guess it was being censored, and I put it on the best I could. Heads up, food, especially people on food stamps. I guess you're first to be chipped. But then it says also social, any government social services is what Pastor Paul Bagley said. So, heads up. Alrighty then, take care.